Hi everyone, Dr. Liz here. Welcome to the Hypnotize Me podcast. I'm glad you're here and hopefully it will help you with your journey along the way. I've been an entrepreneur for most of my adult life. I built an award-winning company that was a household name in South Florida, then sold it and then focused mainly on my private practice as a psychotherapist, helping people feel better. I specialize in hypnosis techniques for anxiety, sleep, emotional healing, some habit change. All of my experience gives you a unique perspective. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Dr. Liz Bonet, Bonet. Another way is to buy one of the downloads that I have for sale on my website, drlizhypnosis.com, DRLIZ hypnosis.com. I only have a couple up there, but they're really good ones. They've stood the test of time. And if you're looking for some free downloads, subscribe to the newsletter and you'll get free hypnosis downloads to reduce anxiety and to increase emotional stability. You can listen to those immediately. Start helping yourself today. But listen to this episode first before you do that. Another way to support the podcast is to rate and review it on iTunes or Spotify or wherever it is you're listening to it. That always helps me get found by people, which helps me help more people. So you're going to help me help more people. I'm going to wrap this up. Enjoy the episode, and I hope to see you back here soon. Hey everyone, Dr. Liz here. Just a quick note to remind you that the holiday sale for hypnosis downloads is still going on until the end of the year, December 31st, 2025. You get 30% off by using the code HOLIDAYS with an S, HOLIDAYS. So I have some good downloads about exercise and healthy eating and eye surgery. So if you want to check them out, please do so. Now, the discount code box is sometimes hard to see, but it is there. But if you miss it for some reason, email me. I'll issue you the percent off, the 30% off directly to your PayPal. But sometimes people say, I didn't see it. It's like, yeah, it's hard to see sometimes. Anyway, let's jump into this interview with Jules Jean-Pierre and hear what she has to say about generational trauma and EMDR. And we really get into some of the nitty-gritty with EMDR and the vagus nerve soothing. So I hope you enjoy it. Peace. Hi, Jules. Welcome to the Hypnotize Me podcast.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yes, just to let the listeners know, I actually met Jules in what's supposed to be a therapist, I think, support group, but it's quickly turned to like networking. Like, what do you do and where are you? And, that kind of stuff. And we had coffee one morning just to get to know each other a little bit and see if sometimes if we have clients that we want to refer to each other that are looking for something specific. And I just really liked her, really hit it off. And she has a wonderful skill set that I don't particularly have. So we're going to talk some about that and how she got to where she is too, and what kind of healing and transformation she offers in her own practice. So, Jules, why don't you tell people why you even wanted to be a therapist originally?
Oh, yes. So I've always been interested in understanding people. As a first generation Haitian American, I guess I was kind of thrown into it by paying attention to how people speak and helping my parents understand American English language, that it's just something that grew on me to really focus and understand how people work.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been fascinated in different cultures, specifically the food. Haitians or Caribbean individuals are really centered in food. You come to their
Mm-hmm.
house and you must eat a plate of something, or else it's considered rude.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in American culture, not so much. So that is definitely something that I've been interested in. So I started in school in my undergrads, a study in anthropology and sociology. and then moved into working at a private higher education university and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I think therapy was like on the back burner, but I just wasn't in a space to really come to that full understanding just yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so I stayed in academia for quite some time. And it wasn't until I worked at a community college where I started to work with a specific population where it was their first time in college. Their background was that they probably didn't have any family members in college. And there I had an opportunity to really see um, how mental health really affects individuals
Yeah.
from I guess, a psychodynamic perspective. And so it really, um, I would say, exacerbated that itch, if you will. And so from
Mhm.
there, it sparked like, let me finish up. I had been taking some classes, but not really too devoted to my master's. So I was like, let me finish this up and let me jump into therapy. And from then, that's where I started.
Wow. Were you doing like advising type of work at that community
Yes.
college? You were.
I
Okay.
was. Hmm.
Yeah.
The program or the students that I was over, they were part of a program called Take Stock in Children, which I think is a wonderful program that assists individuals with mentorship.
Mm-hmm.
And the mentorship really helps them to stay on track. And the beautiful thing, or one of the beautiful things that I like about that program, that they have the mentorship, but if they do well and they, I guess, graduate from the program at the time when I was doing it, they were awarded either a 2 year or 4 year full scholarship, which I think it's beautiful to
Wow.
help individuals. I know, right?
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it was a really lovely program that I also participated in providing mentorship as well because I had not known about it until I started working at the community college. And once I did, I really just liked what it was about, supporting people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And you do see first generation going to college a lot at the community college level. And
right.
yeah, and it's amazing to me. Like, I don't know. I have one that graduated college, one that's in college, but it's like how to navigate all of that. It's so
Yes,
confusing. And I have a PhD.
it
I have
is.
another child through college, and it's like the colleges differ, but it's like, wow, I can't imagine having to navigate that. And I hear miracle stories too from people in my practice along the years. That's like their parents didn't help them at all, but somehow they got themselves to a different state and in a dorm and
Hmm.
into college and did all of that themselves. And it's just quite amazing. So, what a service, really.
It is. It is. Beautiful. I mean, when I moved to Orange Park, that is something that I looked into and is still something that I consider being a part of when I get to a place where I feel really comfortable because of the fact that, what you're talking about, the miracle stories, like doing it all by yourself and the pressure that that puts on an individual from a mental health perspective
Yes.
is a lot.
Yeah. And what kind of connection did you see there? Let me ask it that way.
Oh, yeah.
When someone's functioning well, all of that stuff is easier for them
Mm,
versus
mm.
when someone is really being starting to be affected by anxiety or depression. It seems like a lot of things are overwhelming then.
Yeah. So what I witnessed was substance abuse,
Hmm.
um, dropping out because sometimes, depending on the background of the individuals that I was working with, they had to drop out. I remember one story in particular where my student needed to drop out of the semester because her mother diagnosed bipolar and she was aggressive, violent bipolar. So whenever she didn't take her meds, which was a struggle, she would take it out on the student. And so it
Mm.
became a burden mentally to be able to decipher where her attention needed to be.
Yeah.
And so she needed to drop out. So, I mean, those were many of the stories, whether it was that or helping out with family members, being a caregiver for the parent caregiver for a sibling's children,
Mm-hmm.
and then substance abuse.
Mm-hmm.
One of my students came in one time to register for the semester, and the scent of alcohol was just oozing from his skin.
Mm-hmm. So as you then finished up your degree and said, "Hey, I'm really going to do this," or "I'm going to do it from
Hmm.
a different angle," sounds like,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Where did you go from there?
Substance abuse, oddly enough. I would say it's not necessarily everybody's story as in terms of a registered intern, but I believe that a lot of us as registered interns, sometimes it's difficult to find placement. And the
Hmm.
places that are, willing to accept registered interns would be substance abuse facilities, agency working with children and or
Mm-hmm.
families. So my route was working with outpatient um, substance abuse facility. I worked with drug court and mental health court.
Mm.
Um, and through that process, because when I initially started out, marriage and family therapy was my direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I was the unicorn in the substance abuse outpatient facility because I was MFT and there's not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I helped some of the individuals that were going through the program have couples counseling.
Mm. Interesting. And there's a
Yep,
big family component with addiction, I know as well.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those really came to play. Do you got the dual masters?
No, I just got the dual licenses.
Oh, you got the dual licenses. Okay. But
Yes,
you have to have some, for the listeners that don't know, the different licenses actually have different course requirements. So
correct.
you have to have, it's not like you can just have a master's in mental health counseling and automatically sit for a license in social work or license in marriage and family therapy. You have to
Correct.
have the coursework to back that up. So you have
Yeah.
to have some specialty courses to be able to even do that.
Yes. I would say that working in academia really worked out to my benefit. Having to read program requirements a lot. I am the type of person who does not necessarily follow a straight path. It works for me to kind of
Mhm.
I would say go in squiggly lines. And that's what I would say made me popular with the individuals I was working with at the
Mm.
community college, because
Mhm.
I showed them that, there are different routes to be able to obtain something that they want. So my degree is actually in human services with a concentration in marriage and family.
Mm.
And I was taking additional courses as well. So that gave me the ability to be able to sit for both exams to be licensed for both disciplines.
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. So I know that currently you have a trauma focus. Did some
Yes,
of that develop out of those early experiences?
absolutely. My focus in trauma has been out the gate, and really developed over the years to be able to fine tune, I would say, my therapeutic listening ear, that when I speak with clients, and when I'm working with them, I can hear what would appear to me would be traumatic incidents that developed in their life. And if they're open to it, because not everybody would come to see me for trauma per se, but if
Hmm.
they're open to it at some point where they stabilize with what the presenting issue is, then we could explore what I heard and see um, if they agree with me that it really made an impact in their life.
Mm. So what, so you're saying sometimes they don't agree with you. Then like you may hear trauma as a therapist, but they
Correct.
didn't experience it that way.
Correct. And that's okay.
Hmm.
As therapists, we're here to support the clients with their presenting issue. So I don't
Hmm.
make it about me. I simply offer.
Uh-huh. Okay. What do they typically come in with then?
A majority of my clients do come in for trauma. The other ones, I would say relational issues, because that marriage and family therapy sticks out the most.
Uh-huh.
Anxiety, depression. Every
Hmm.
now and then I'll have somebody bipolar,
Hmm.
ADHD. Where it currently stands is I have quite a few individuals who are coming in to work on their mother daughter childhood wound.
Okay. When we met in person, we talked some about generational trauma, which
Yes,
is why I wanted you to come on the podcast, because people talk about that and often people have no idea what that means. So,
right.
but I imagine it comes up if you're doing like mother-daughter work, it comes up.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. It actually comes up just in what I would say typical work in terms of like anxiety or depression. And that's what I hear.
Hmm.
However, as I stated, if I offer it to them and they do not agree and they don't feel like it caused that much of an impact, then I can't force them and would not force them. But when we're looking at it from a generational perspective, there are patterns of behaviors, there are patterns of statements that individuals are carrying out that they learned through their parents or they learned through their grandparents, where I would categorize that as a generational type um, behavior and or trauma if it indeed is traumatic. And
Hmm.
so again, it's a perspective that I offer to them that these are some things that I heard, and are you interested in exploring that a bit more?
Okay. So when you explain it to people who like are confused by the term,
Hmm.
are you're talking about, well, patterns that came from, let's say, not just your parents, but grandparents, great grandparents? Like, how far do you go back?
Well, it depends. If I am working with an individual that is either of Caribbean descent or even African American descent, and they can trace their roots back, then we can go back as far as slavery during colonial times. Because
Hmm.
um, if you look at child rearing and how we spank our children or
Yes.
have spanked our children,
Hmm.
that is rooted in slavery, especially within the African American community, because you trace it back and you look at ways to control individuals.
Hmm.
So it might have started out as control and then transformed into a control, not where you're looking at it from colonialism, but you're looking at it from the perspective of safety. So, for
Hmm.
example, what I mean by that is a mother might spank her child during times of slavery or Jim Crow, um, in order to keep them in line for their safety so that they didn't get harmed. And so
Yes.
we kept that pattern up.
Okay, got it. And then it gets passed down without really knowing where did this
Correct.
really come from.
Right. The origin is lost, but the
Hmm.
pattern still remains, or the behavior pattern still remains.
Hmm. Okay. I mean, what kind of insights do you see around it? Like, I'll tell you a personal story.
Yeah.
Like, my parents spanked me. Um, I was born in 1969, so
Okay.
pretty
Hmm.
much everyone spanked in that generation.
Yes.
Okay, like,
Yes. Yes.
but sometimes it went a bit far. I thought as an adult,
Yeah.
okay, like,
Hmm.
well, I felt that as a child too, right? You feel
Yeah.
it as a child. And as
Absolutely.
an adult, I learned that my mother's father was very abusive, like
Mm,
to the point where at one point her mom jumped in between him and her because she really thought he was going to kill her that night.
wow.
Yes. And it was also a pattern where he would only beat her, not her sister. That was like
Right.
2 years younger than her, let's say.
Hmm.
And so as an adult, when I learned this, probably my 20s sometime, some things all of a sudden made sense to me.
Mm,
Even though um, my parents were not abusive to that extreme, it really
right.
was mainly kept to spanking. But it was like, oh, that may be where that feeling's coming from when I look at it from a generational trauma kind of
Hmm.
perspective.
Hmm.
So it's like, do you have those kinds of insights coming in that may change behavior? Like, I chose not to spank my kids. There's actually one time when I swapped my youngest on the butt, and I like called my best friend in California and was like, "Oh my god!" Like, I swatted her on the butt, and she's like, "Okay, let's talk this through." Like what was
Yes.
happening, all this stuff. But even that was just like, oh, I had made this vow, never to do that. And then
Right.
out of frustration, broke it. And so, do you see the insight or pattern change when this stuff comes up with your clients?
I definitely do with the clients, like I said, that are open to exploring that level of understanding. Because to be quite honest, it can be really rough to, first of all, understand the origin story, where that's
Mhm.
coming from, and how an individual in present day is still maintaining those behaviors. And then what I would say, the beauty of where we are today is we have, just in regards to what we are talking about, gentle parenting. And there are
Mhm.
individuals who come in and they want to gentle parent. I think one of the frustrating aspects of that is that although a person can come in wanting to gentle parent, what do you then do with the frustration and the anger
Mhm.
that was given to you by your parents before? Not blaming them. And I always tell my clients that
Yeah.
when we go down this route, it's not about blaming, it's merely about understanding, as a matter of fact, this is just what was given. And
Mhm.
from that, the parents either continued on or tried to stop it. And when they tried to stop it, because it's not perfection, there are other ways that the tension was coming out that they might not have been aware of. So with gentle
Mhm.
parenting, when they come to that abrupt stop, your feelings don't go away. Your
Yeah.
frustration with this little person and or older
Mhm.
person doesn't go away. What then do you do with that? And so we
Mhm.
really work to redirect and to ground and to use other coping mechanisms when that level of frustration builds and you were taught that I hit somebody to get it out, but then
Yeah.
you feel, to your point, you feel like absolute crap.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to feel either one of those things. So what do I do with it? So
Right.
it's a lot of work.
It is. Yes. Yeah. So very meaningful, I imagine.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Yes. And then at some point you got trained in EMDR.
Yes.
Okay. When was that? Like, and when along the journey did you decide to make that leap? And again, for the listeners, that certification is it's a long journey to get that certification. It's like years of
It is.
investing
It
your
is.
time. I mean, there's intro courses, but then there's the extensive certification. And it stands for eye movement EMD desensitization
And reprocessing.
reprocessing. Okay.
Yes.
And it
Yes.
is often used for trauma. Hypnosis, actually, the inventor of EMDR, let's say the founder, not really inventor, was trained in hypnosis originally.
I can see that.
Yeah. And so it has some, I think, hypnotic techniques to
Hmm.
it that's
It does.
very fascinating to me. So it approaches trauma in a different way, I believe, than hypnosis does. And I've had it myself, and there's a couple of podcast episodes I did on it with different therapists, so that you can learn about it if you want to go back and listen to those. But it's a hard certification. That's my point here. Okay. um, and it is for trauma. Most people seek it out for trauma. So how did that come into your journey?
um, honestly, working in substance abuse, it was mentioned a few times, but I did not necessarily seek it out.
Hmm.
And so, oddly enough, for me, there was an opportunity to get trained during COVID.
Mm,
Um, and so I decided to check it out and see what it was about. Focusing on trauma really helped to be able to understand EMDR in itself.
hmm.
Um, the context in terms of like understanding from a generational perspective, trauma and how it develops and how it passes on wasn't new to me for my training.
Hmm.
However, the technique and what it could do and how it could give a person an opportunity to be alleviated from certain behavioral responses that they have was fascinating.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed.
Hmm.
And you offer intensives. I bring this up because I had someone ask me the other day. She had done an EMDR session, and it was just like your regular 45-minute therapy session. And she
Yeah.
felt awful afterwards.
Oh.
Yeah, and so we talked it through some, but it was like, okay, I know I have had EMDR in that 45, it was really like 60-minute session period,
Yeah.
and felt great afterwards. Like, so can you explain Is it that some people need that extra time? Is it what you're working on? Is it the level of trauma? Like, can you give us some insight into why an intensive, which could be 3, 6 hours or a
2
weekend,
days.
versus
Hmm.
like doing EMDR in one session, your regular therapy weekly session?
So I personally believe that individuals need some time to process, especially if EMDR is new to them.
Hmm.
It does take some time to really assist a person through their process, especially if they're stuck. Um, and so that 60-minute session, it doesn't make me feel good as a therapist to, I would say, watch the clock in
Hmm.
order to helping them reprocess. Sometimes it takes them time to really have a firm understanding of what we call the true target is, or the touchstone memory.
Hmm.
Because through your own experience, I'm sure you can confirm, you go in thinking it's one thing, and it's absolutely not that at all.
Yeah,
Um,
often. Yeah.
that is often not the case. And so I like to give my clients that I'm working with through EMDR the opportunity to really come to their understanding. Because EMDR, we don't tell you anything. We are there to help guide you through the process of your brain really coming to an understanding of what the touch tone memory is, or AKA the root of the issue,
Yeah.
and then for you to reprocess. And so for myself, the intensives, how I describe it is, if there is a specific situation that an individual keeps coming back to, keeps cycling back to, or ruminating with, and I'm using
Hmm.
clinical terms and non-clinical terms, then a 3-hour intensive would be appropriate, where I could work on that one incident, or even perhaps two. And one of the things that I have noticed at times is that when they come in with what they believe is the target, that through the process of EMDR, sometimes two or three things can come out of that. And so I want to give an individual the opportunity to really maximize that experience, because I may not get somebody coming back after that 3-hour intensive. EMDR can really be, um, to your point of the individual that you spoke with, it really can be emotionally exhausting for people.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
so,
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
So in that 3-hour time, I want them to have that time to experience the exhaustion, and also to experience a little bit of talk therapy if they want to talk through what they experienced in the session with me, so that when they leave, there isn't a rush, there is a sense of feeling grounded. And whatever it is that I
Yes.
can do in those intensives to help them feel grounded as they leave, and prepare them for what could come up as a result of that, that's what I aim to do.
Yes, fantastic. I do the same. And if we're doing a hypnosis technique, not for
Hmm.
like habit change, but more trauma work or changing deeper beliefs, emotional kind of work, I give the same cautions. Like, we're scheduling
Yeah.
a longer session. Part of that
Yeah.
is for grounding.
Right.
We can chit chat afterwards to ground you. You
Right.
know, like, I make sure you're safe to drive
Right.
afterwards. We
Right.
can talk about what came up if you want to do that. And
Right.
in between, this is what may happen. So make sure you take good
Yeah.
care of yourself. You don't plan something super intense right after our session. You're not going right back
Correct.
to work, like
Absolutely
stuff
not.
like that. Yeah.
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 Especially if it's
Allow
their
more time.
first intensive.
Yes.
I help them schedule it like Thursday or Friday, because so that
Yeah.
they can have time to just focus and be aware of what's coming up.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So when you first started, did you start with more the hour or hour and a half or something? Or you're like, no, from the get-go, I'm starting with 3.
No, I did start with the hour. And so that's where I decided that it's not enough time.
Hmm.
Um, because there are a lot of people. EMDR right now, I would say, is becoming a little bit more popularized.
Hmm.
Thank goodness for
Nice.
TikTok, Instagram, that's highlighting these other modalities,
Yeah, it's true.
somatic therapy, hypnosis. They're just
Yeah.
talking about it, and I'm here for
Mhm.
it. However, it it typically is a person's first time experiencing EMDR because what they're
Yeah.
traditionally used to is talk therapy.
Yes.
And sometimes it's their first time in talk therapy. So,
Hmm.
I'm very cautious to be able to really support and cater to the individual that I'm working with. And so over a course of time, I noticed that the 60 minutes, if I'm watching the clock, I am not fully present.
Hmm.
Whereas the 3 hours, I'm still watching the clock, but I have time to allow them to process freely as opposed to trying to get them through the target quickly,
Yes. Got it.
which I believe can cause harm. And I don't think that therapists are intending to do so.
Yeah.
It's just I'm being cautious.
Well, to your point, it comes with experience, right?
Right.
Like, oh,
Right.
this is experience I'm having. And for some therapists, they may not have that experience in the hour session. They may not have that sense of like, oh, I'm rushing
Correct.
here, or I'm making sure I watch that clock, and we don't, they may have a
Hmm.
completely different experience.
Correct.
But mine is very similar to yours. Like, no, if I'm going to do a regression trauma type of hypnosis session, we're scheduling time for that, so
Correct.
that one, for me to feel relaxed and present and, and capable of getting to what we need to get to, and for your benefit, basically. It's like, this is
Right.
not for my benefit, this is for your benefit, so we can do the best
Right.
treatment possible here. Yeah. Yeah. So when you say a target memory, tell people what that is, because I don't think they're really
Oh,
familiar
yeah,
with
yeah.
that term.
So a target memory is when we talk about someone cycling or continuing to ruminate and go back to something, a target memory would be an incident that they continuously talk about. So
Okay.
we could be in talk therapy working on something for a year or so, but I keep going back to that same incident as
Mhm.
it being like the primary problem. I just can't
Mhm.
get over how, my boyfriend talked to me that day. And I really feel like, that's something that has always stuck out in my life, but we
Mhm.
keep focusing on that one incident. So you're stuck. You're cycling back to one incident,
Mhm.
and so that would be appropriate to definitely work on as a target memory. And as we had mentioned earlier, from your experience as well, that's often not the originating issue, but it's a
Yeah.
place to start.
Yes. Yeah. I think for at least one of mine, yeah, it was the target memory that we really worked on. But I
Yeah,
mean, that memory has like all kinds of layers to it,
it does.
right?
It
It's like
does.
what was going on underneath? What did it mean to you when this
Right.
happened? What meaning did you make out of it? What belief did you
Right.
form about
Yes.
yourself or about the world? Like, yeah,
Yes.
has so
I
many
don't think
layers.
I don't think that people really fully understand how impactful our emotions are.
Hmm.
So the target memory really is just centered on how you felt. And when we start understanding about the emotions that are connected to that, there are so many other memories that the body connects that emotion to
Yes.
that we start to work on.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, I found it very, the most recent one, the first time I did it was over 10 years ago, but the second time
Okay.
was like sometime last year. And
Okay.
I found it so like stream of consciousness almost,
Yeah.
like stuff I would filter out in talk therapy. You're not going to talk about this, what seems like a completely unrelated
Right.
minor memory.
Right.
But during EMDR, it's like, oh yeah, it's right there, and
That
it
like that
meant
was the thing.
this.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm. Mhm.
exactly. Yeah, it's
It's
really
powerful
fascinating.
how we assign our emotions to something.
Absolutely. Yes. And I think the amount of filtering we do, because we are used to doing that to use our time efficiently in therapy, like as a
Yes.
client, right? Like, okay,
Right.
I only have this amount of time. I need to talk about this, this, and this seems
Exactly.
irrelevant, So
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
found it a really interesting and completely helpful process. Like
Yeah.
transformative, really.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
The the beauty of it is for me when I'm able to show up and facilitate for someone is I just love hearing the different responses
Hmm.
as to what happens. I think it's fantastic. I can't explain all of it, and I tell them Each time is different. Feel free to share if they want to. Um, the experiences of reprocessing. For some people, they feel tingling in their head. That has
Mm.
nothing to do with me. It's nothing, no
Yeah.
magic that I'm doing, but they feel it, and
Uh-huh.
it's a wonderful experience for them.
Yes. Yeah. So since I have you here, let me ask the difference between a therapist who's like using the fingers back and forth
Hmm.
versus the little handhelds that buzz.
Yeah.
Is that just personal choice from the therapist?
Um, I can speak for myself, or I will speak for myself, is that it's personal choice for the client.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, it depends on what they feel comfortable with, and I often give them the option. I personally do not use my hands anymore because you got to go to the gym.
Yeah.
That arm work, depending on how many times that you are doing the bilateral movements, which is waving your fingers back and forth, yeah, that hurts. So
Hmm.
you need to stay on top of that. So for myself, I have a light bar that I use, and then I
Mm-hmm.
also have the tappers. And what I've noticed is that depending on who's presenting in terms of the client, one of them, uh, one of them or both of them might be a better option. So if you have somebody who really responds more to something that is tangible, then the
Hmm.
tappers, they can hold the tappers in their hands to simulate that bilateral movement. They can even put the tappers underneath their thighs just to be able to give them that feeling.
Mm.
I have some individuals who just prefer the light bar, and I have some individuals who prefer them both.
Got it. And the light bar, they're just following the light back and forth with their eyes.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Instead of your finger.
correct.
Yeah. Or fingers, let's say.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. The first time I had the fingers, but the second I had the tappers that you hold in your hands. I loved them. Loved them.
The
But I
tappers.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I am a very visual person, but I have that
Yeah.
yoga teacher side to me that's very
Mm-hmm.
kinetic, right? Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
feeling in the body. And so
Yeah.
I really liked that. I tend to get seasick too. So I don't know if that makes a
There
difference for
there you
people.
go. There you go. Yeah.
But
I
I
mean, you got to
really,
go with what makes you feel good.
yeah. So I think that's
Yeah.
really interesting that you have the options for them. Like, hey, what do you prefer? Do people
Hmm.
intuitively know, or do they sometimes switch?
Sometimes they switch. I have had individuals come back for repeat EMDR sessions, and it depends on the mood that they're in, where they want to try the tappers, the light bar, or both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then if neither one of them are an option, I'm not going to say that this is rooted in scientific fact, but they'll do the butterfly tapping,
Oh,
which
yeah.
what I have noticed is for individuals who have a lot of trauma,
Uh-huh.
childhood trauma,
Mm-hmm.
the butterfly is very comforting. And
Mm-hmm.
so if that's what I am hearing, the target incident or targets that we're working on is really rooted in childhood, then I would suggest the butterfly tapping.
I love that. And this is just an audio podcast. So the
Hmm.
butterfly is like cross your, if you want to do this, if you're not driving while you're listening to this,
Right,
just cross your hands over your chest. And the butterfly is like your hands just tap alternately on your,
right.
right below your shoulders. So in that little space there. And
Yeah.
I have a whole handout of grounding techniques, vagus
Okay.
nerve kind of techniques
Hmm. Hmm.
to soothe the vagus nerve, and that was one of them that's on there.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, I found that works with childhood
Mhm.
trauma. It feels comforting. So to your point, it feels very
Yeah.
soothing.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
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 I always forget to do it, but whenever I do, it's like, oh, I got to add that to my soothing list, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Give yourself a nice little hug every now
Right, it is. It's like giving yourself a nice little hug. It strikes me as similar, I know it's different than to the like EFT tapping.
and then. Hmm.
I don't know if you're familiar with that, where the
I
like
am. Is it the ones where you tap
yeah, under the
under your eyes?
eye. Yep.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
different points of the body
Right.
and that can
That
be
one's to
really
activate the vagus nerve as well. Sorry to interrupt
it
you.
is. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I love tapping. So it's very similar to that of you're releasing really you
Yeah.
I would call it reprocessing, because you're starting with one phrase and then I deeply love and accept myself, even though, quote, such, but it transforms into, I deeply love and accept myself, period. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So
I would absolutely agree with you that it is reprocessing, because we are activating the vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve, in understanding the human body, that's recording a lot of our experiences.
it
And
is.
so my earlier point, when I said people don't typically understand how much emotion controls our behavior, if we have a specific emotional feeling to an event, and there are other events that seem to register with that emotion as well, that's what we're storing. And so tapping and repeating an affirmation that helps to rewire the
Yeah.
vagus nerve from, I know you feel like this when this happens, but you also get
Mhm.
to feel like this. And
Yeah.
so either way that we can get to reprocessing, I'm here for it.
Yeah, great. Well, on that note, I want to thank you for being on the podcast. We'll wrap up there. Please let people know how to find you.
Definitely. So they could reach me through my website, which is www.therapeutichopecounseling.com. I also have an Instagram. I am not the greatest at it, but at TraumaPro1.
Mhm.
Um, I do have a TikTok. I couldn't even tell you the name of that.
Right. And are you doing online as well as in person, or just in person?
I prefer to facilitate EMDR in person.
Okay.
If I have a client that I've worked with over the course of a period of time and they're leaving, and it would be beneficial, then I definitely can facilitate it online, but my preference is in person.
In person. Okay. And
Hmm.
you're in the Jacksonville, Northeast Florida area.
Yes.
Someone wants to
Hmm.
find her. And people could, at one point I told you when we met, people would fly in for the core healing hypnosis technique. So
Yes.
I'm assuming if they want to do a weekend intensive with you,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
They can reach out, and I have a pamphlet put together. So, definitely directing them to the hotels that they can stay at near here, where
Mhm.
to go eat, and
Mhm.
places really to support what it is that they're doing here. The ones that are interested in a 2-day intensive at the practice, I shared with you that there are alternative health practitioners here.
Mhm.
So that is something that comes with the package to be able to complete that holistic experience where they could choose to do yoga, Reiki, sound healing, or meditation.
Fantastic. I love it. And just so you know, Jacksonville is located by the beach in Florida.
It
It is,
is.
in case you need some grounding afterwards, or
Yes,
you want
St.
to
Augustine has
schedule,
beautiful beaches as well.
yes, an
Hmm.
extra day or two to go to the beach.
Yeah,
Yeah, it would be a nice therapeutic vacation, let's say.
absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you again, Jules.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you truly enjoyed today's episode. I work all over the world doing hypnosis, so if you're interested in working with me, please schedule a free consultation over at my website, drlizhypnosis.com, and we'll see what your goals are and if I can be of service to you in helping you reach them. Finally, if you liked today's episode, please subscribe to the podcast or tell a friend. That way, more and more people learn about the power of hypnosis. This podcast is not mental health treatment, nor should it replace mental health treatment. If you need therapy or hypnotherapy, please seek treatment from a trained professional, such as myself. Have a wonderful week. Peace.